Welcome back to the channel and a new video on the Mini Cooper S. The comment section, amazing. Thank you everybody that got involved in the comment section about the Mini with your ideas and your thoughts on what the actual issue is with this car. If you did watch the video just before this one, part one, you would have seen we did a compression test. We had 140 PSI on number 1, 2 and 4. Number 3, unfortunately, was 20 PSI. That is our problem cylinder. So, quite a lot of you reached out in the comments, Rob, inlet manifold. And I'll be honest, in the research, that did come up about walnut blasting them. They do suffer with, let me just zoom this out a little bit. They do suffer with build-up of carbon. A couple of other people said the seat drops out on the valve and that prevents the valve from closing. There was so many different scenarios, and as we know, these are a notorious engine for problems. They're all over the internet, and a lot of people have had problems with them. So, some people said do an air test, do a smoke test, do various tests. Ultimately, if we remove the inlet manifold and we get the camera in there and we find a problem with a valve, that's all we're going to be able to see, the valve. We're going to be able to see whether it's opened or closed, burnt. That is what really all we're going to see. And if we do see that, basically, cut a long story short, save me sitting here going on too much, I'm going to remove the whole front end, like I said I was going to, because trying to even get the chain out, it's a nightmare. It's headlight out, wheel arch liner, intercooler pipe here. Everything's got to come out the way, and it is a nightmare. I've repaired quite a few of these cars now, and the front end is really not that bad to take off. So I'm going to strip the whole front end off, and then we're going to start the process of taking this car apart. But ultimately, that head's got to come off. We always knew that the issue is in cylinder 3. It's not going to be a coil pack. We've done a compression test. We know that there's an issue in there, so the head is going to have to come off. I'm going to crack on, get the water system drained down and start the process of removing the front end. Bit of an update there. I didn't want to leave it on time lapse too long, but pretty mucky job, and there's not really a lot in depth I can actually get in there and show you. So I removed the grille, removed the bumper. It was quite straightforward. I'm putting everything in the boot, and I've laid the bumper inside the car there all nicely so that it can't get damaged. So the front panel is caught it. I had the jump pack on there so that I could pop the boot earlier, and I haven't actually taken it off, so my bad there. Yeah, just going around removing all the nuts. The cable for the bonnet, very, very simple the way it sits in there and just unclicks. Very simple. Couple of 13s up there, couple up there, and then there's pretty much loads of 13s around here, and all the bolts, all the little clips, all the little other bits that we've got. We have stumbled across our first problem. Lock and wheel nut, we haven't got a key. I'm going to have another good scout through just to see if I can find it, but I've got the headlights there in a separate box. I always try and keep them separate from any other bits because you don't want the lenses getting scratched. All of the nuts and bolts in a box. I've drained all of the water down in it. There's still going to be a little bit in there when I tip it up. We know that there's no aircon gas in it. I tried the aircon when we got it running and it was blowing as hot as the heater, so that's no good. You can separate just this top piece from these front panels via, there is a few little nuts and bolts, and I'm sure that does. I'm quietly confident that that separates. I'm sure it does. But regardless, anyway, it's all coming off as one piece. I've got to release a few of the pipes, a few other little bits and pieces, and we should get that off there. I'm going to have to remove the washer bottle because that is covering up these two bolts. and these lower chassis extensions that I need to get to. So I'm going to crack on and try and get all of that front end off. So there you go, bit of work there. Probably half an hour, 40 minutes tops to get that whole front end off. And look how much more accessible everything is. It just makes life so much more easy. In order to get the timing chain out, you have got to remove all these engine mounts. And these bolts in particular here are a nightmare to get out. A nightmare without removing that front panel. You've got your main tensioner here for your auxiliary belt. Look how easy that is to get to. Most people buy a special tool that reaches in here. Let me just zoom out a little bit. I will get there in the end, guys, sorry. They buy a special tool that they can pull here to actually get on there and ungrip that to push the spring in. But it's all accessible now. It's so much more easy. I need to concentrate. It's actually a Saturday today, believe it or not. And I wanted to come in and really make a start on it. The video of it actually went out on Friday, and a lot of you are so interested and want to get to the bottom of it. I need to straight away get on and get that locking wheel nut removed. It hasn't got a turn-in security ring on the outside of it, so I may get away with bashing an old socket over it. So the wheel is going to need a refurb anyway. It's got a few marks on it, so hopefully we can get that off. The other side, not so important, but this side, very, very important to get it out of the way. You can full lock it and mess around and get your hands in here, but who wants to do that? We get the wheel off. They've all got to come off. All of those lockers have got to come off anyway. But yeah, a lot more accessible. As soon as I come back tomorrow or Monday, we'll start stripping the rest of this off. Sorry, I was just about to walk out there without showing the front panel. So this pipe here we disconnected earlier on anyway. This is the one of the main intercooler pipes. I split this water hose down here. This is the bottom hose, but it's got like this extension on it. But I actually initially split it here because it does separate, just so that I could drain the system down before I tried pulling it out. Otherwise, you would have seen we did spill just a little bit of water on the floor, and I mopped it up straight away. But if I'd have tried doing it without disconnecting that, there would have been water everywhere. So you've just got your intercooler hoses. So these two intercooler hoses, you've got to unplug your fan, the wires here, the plugs there. It was quite straightforward. And you've got two water hoses there, your bonnet cable and a few bolts, and it's out. Really moving along. We just wanted to crack straight on. There's so much stuff to strip off one of these little engines to get that chain off, get the cassette out, get the head off these vehicles. It's a lot of work. So the manifold had to come off with the turbo. We ended up taking the complete system off. Chris cracked on round the back while I was down there getting that off and took the inlet manifold off. We've got the cam, we've got it all lined up. We've got the cam locking tool on there, all the engine mounts removed. We've just started taking out all of the pins that hold in that cassette, bottom pulley, That's now all loose. We're just really getting there with it. I wanted to cut in and just let you know how far along we was getting with it. I'd really like to get this head off, so we're just going to continue on bit by bit, taking it apart until we're ready to lift that off. Once you do strip it out, it all becomes apparent, but there really is so much stuff. We thought it's going to be head bolts now in a case of lifting it off. And then you do see that thermostat pipe does run right round the back, and you do have to separate that. Of course, everybody has their own way of doing these sort of things. And I'm sure there's people out there that have done this and they do it their way, and a lot of people do it different ways. So it's all locked out, it's all ready to go. I've taken all of the bolts out, just pulled the bottom pulley out. Everything's ready to go. Do you want to lift that out, Chris? And there you go. It's quite clever, really, isn't it? Yeah. So that is all removed now. We're going to move straight on, get that thermostat housing out. Can't wait to get this head off, get it upside down on the bench, and we're all going to see it together and see if anything is really obvious. Can't wait to see it, to be honest. It's been a few hours removing all of the stuff around the outside of the engine. So we'll crack on, get these last little bits off, and we'll start the process of getting that head removed. That's everything stripped out, and Chris is ready to lift that off. We got a nice bit of cardboard over there to put it upside down. Guys, place your bets now in the comment section. What is wrong with this? Are we going to find out straight away? Anything obvious there on the gasket? Any holes in the pistons? Well, that looks all right. Sorry, mate, I made you carry that on your own. Oh dear.
Two valves open.
Two valves still open. Now that's...
camshaft still in it, so...
Guys, we get that laid flat and...
That's a problem.
Yeah, we can see it there now, look. That's exhaust, isn't it?
Exhaust.
Yeah, exhaust. Everybody that guessed burnt out exhaust valve.
Did say it had a wet port.
Yep, you was exactly bang on. Well done, everybody. They look pretty coked up as well compared to the rest. Yeah, that cylinder there actually looks like new. That one there looks okay. They are terrible, all the carbon on them. Feel it all. Let's zoom out a little bit. I'm a little bit too close there.
Yeah, it's not been combusted.
No, it hasn't. No, that's right.
Build up.
Right, guys, there is our problem.
Show that.
So this is all dry. This one's dry. I think quite a lot of you picked up on this last time. We said the cylinder was soaked, number 3, and number 4's dry as well. But yeah, everybody that do you know what? I was leaning towards exhaust valve. I think I responded to quite a lot of you saying that I did think it was going to be an exhaust valve. So everybody that got that right, well done. And of course, that means that the engine is saved as well, so to speak. So it's all serviceable and repairable now. The bores look okay, don't they? I did have a quick look.
Yeah, it's just washed the piston off.
Yeah.
Cleaned the piston bit.
There you go, guys. Lovely. So again, I didn't want to go too crazy there on a time lapse. We've already got a bit in there. But as you can see, Chris chucked it straight on the bench. He said, let's just make a start on it now and then get all the bits ordered. So I've been sitting down there on the phone ordering up the bits. And as you can see, Chris has done a decoke on all of it. All of the inlet valves are absolutely fine. The exhaust valves, he has removed all of them. This one here, it's going to be a bit hard to pop up there. As you can see, he's decoked that as well and relapping that in there. And as you can see, you can probably just about see on there, nearly all the marks on that have completely gone. So cylinders 1, 2 and 4 are all going to get their valves, sorry, I was just getting that back in the hole there, all going to get the valves relapped, all cleaned up, decoked, and then cylinder number 3, I've ordered 2 new valves for it and they're going to be here tomorrow. We got all the other ones there, all in a bit of cardboard, but there's your main culprit there. Guys, you can see just how bad that is now. Let's try and place it on the cardboard so you can actually see how much of it is missing. I said to Chris, what do we think would have happened to that one part that is missing off of that? He did say it probably shot straight down the exhaust, so we're not really too worried about that at the moment. So that is it. All stripped out, we know the problem. We got that bit now, we're just rebuilding it and getting it back together. Just before I did go, because I know somebody's going to pick up on it in the comment section, they're going to tell me. I'm just going to show you that, guys, and tell me what you see. I'm just going to say it. Does that not look like Thomas the Tank Engine? Very, very funny shaped piston there. Very funny. I looked in there and I just kept looking and thought, it really does look something and like something, and I couldn't work out what it was. So guys, another nice, enjoyable project, and we know exactly what's wrong with it. I kind of guessed that it was going to be that, but it is lovely to lift it off. Chris did say earlier, there's nothing worse than doing a compression test or something like that on a car, seeing that one cylinder's down, actually taking that head off, spinning it over and not seeing a problem. He said, because then you really have got a problem. You've got to try and work out what was wrong with that. So it was nice to see that exhaust valve, even though we would have rather it didn't happen. So that is going to be the end of today's video. Drop all your comments in the comment section. Like, subscribe and share. Please do give us a thumbs up, show your appreciation. We really do appreciate it. Check out the merchandise. The link is in the description, and we'll see you early next week in the next one.